Hi, I'm Cheryl Thornton, Cloud Mountain Farm Center. We're up in Northwest Washington near the Canadian border, about 7 miles from Abbotsford. We started the farm here in 1978 and have slowly grown this farm into being an educational center of what we're doing now. So when we first got here, the farm was an old abandoned dairy farm with lots of cows running through the creeks and thistles everywhere. So at one point we decided, what are we going to do with all of these thistles and cows, and decided we really wanted to start a farm and fruit orchard. We kept the cows for a little bit just to keep us having some income, but then slowly started planting orchards and vineyards growing grapes. Since then, that was 1978, like I said, we've gone through many renditions of fruits, of vegetables, of growing garlic, of having lots of crops that we've played with. One of the things that we'd like to do here is teach and also empower people to learn how to grow plants and especially their own food. We also have sold to and will sell to local markets, restaurants, work with chefs, try and educate them about how food's grown, when it is available. Chefs are always kind of interesting folks because they do magic with the food, not always understanding when it's ready and where it comes from. So that's been a fun part of the business as well. We have since, in those 40-some years, become a nonprofit. We are doing more education, more and more every day. We have had a full-time internship program. We've had, I believe, 40 interns come through in the last 7 years or so, and they work with us and learn about the farm. And we've had a curriculum with them to teach them about business and marketing and growing food. So at this farm we have 20 acres of ground, and we also have another farm just down the road about 2.5 miles away where we have another 22 acres, and that farm in particular is where we grow different vegetable crops. It's also our incubator farm. So what happens there is that we lease land to incubator farmers to help them get started. So right now we have 3 incubator farms down there. One's growing leafy greens and other lettuces. We have another farm that is growing mixed vegetables. And we also have another farm that is doing some type of production farming with processing. We do have a processing center here so that the incubator farms can use that to do any value added that they'd like, and we'll take a look at that as well in this program. So we'll, at this point, take a look and show you what we've got. We have a plant nursery here, and one of the things that we like to do is do a lot of education. So we hold workshops for folks about all kinds of things of growing fruit. Fruit seems to be a little bit more difficult to grow than vegetables, a little bit more complicated. So what we do is have a lot of demonstration orchards and places where people can go see what things look like. This in particular right here is a cherry, and we have been growing and playing with different systems of how to grow cherries. In particular, this example shows an upright fruiting offshoot system whereby anybody can plant it, grow it, and prune it, and we've decided that you can actually grow a cherry tree with less than 1 hour of time every year. You just need to know when to put that hour of time in at different times of the year. So we have an espalier here that includes the cherry, some apples, and another cherry at the other end. But what people really like about this is that they can come and they can see what something looks like. You can explain how to prune something, especially on a fruit tree, but seeing it is often the way that people get the most benefit of it. So we have lots of demonstration gardens where we have plants that we've planted out to let people know how big things are going to get. When you come to the nursery and you buy a plant and you look at the plant and you think, oh, this is really cute in this little pot. And then we'll say, you might want to go look at that plant out in the garden area and see what it really looks like, and depending upon how much space you have, whether that works for you. So we've planted these gardens here, and it will change in different times and different places, so that we are always looking at what new plants we have, what works, what doesn't work, and then replant them here in these garden areas. Here we are in our vineyard, and we have been testing different wine grapes and table grapes for over 25 years to see what works in Western Washington. A lot of times people will say, you can't grow that here, and then that only makes us understand and be a little bit more proactive to see if it actually does grow here and what it takes to grow here. This grape in here in particular is called Mars. It's a table grape, and it is a wonderful eating grape. We do different, sell to different markets with these grapes, and have found that when people taste a real grape off of a vine like this, the flavor just kind of explodes in your mouth versus the ones that you buy in the store. So it's kind of a fun crop to grow and see what people think about it. This is our peach orchard. We've been growing peaches for probably 20 years, looking at what varieties of peaches grow the best in Northwest Washington and which ones ripen. I always tell people that we can grow better peaches in Eastern Washington. They're different, but to me they have a lot more flavor. So we've been looking at probably 30 different varieties of peaches, as well for selling the peaches, but then also for homeowners to know what kinds of peach trees grow the best in their area. So this allows them to see the peaches, taste the peaches, and then decide for themselves what they want to do.
Here we are going to watch the produce processing system they use at Cloud Mountain Nursery. This system was inspired by small-scale systems that were used all over Europe for processing the harvests of smaller-sized orchards that are common in England, France, Italy, Germany, and other surrounding areas. This particular model was custom designed and manufactured by a local cooperative of workers associated with Cloud Mountain Nursery. This particular crate you see here is Vakane apples, prized for their bright red skin, their pale white flesh, and delicious, juicy, complex flavor. This is one of my personal favorite apples. Alright, let's watch the magic here. What you see here is they're going to take this crate and lower it into this vat of water. Now, because apples float, floating in water is a technique that can be used to remove these apples from their crate without handling them any further. That's going to prevent bruising or any other damage to the fruit. Water is a great way to process fruits, especially if you're trying to keep them fancy grade for market. Just check this out. Whoosh, just like that. Now they're going to use jets of water here to spray the apples and kind of push them along the path over to the rollers. Look at that. That's super neat. Alright, so now we got them on the rollers. It's a real nice, gentle, smooth conveyor belt. It's going to take the apples right up there to the washing unit. Look at them go. There we have it. Look at that. Now these apples are getting fed here into a washing unit. We've got spray from above, and then those rollers, if you look closely, especially here when we come around like this, you're going to be able to see these rollers a lot better. There you go. You see the bristles on the rollers? It's going to scrub those apples, get everything off them, completely clean, all around. Whoop, I'm getting sprayed a little bit here. Water on the lens, sorry about that. There we go. Now the apples are going to get kicked out here onto some sponges. These rollers are actually drying them after they've been washed. That's really neat, I personally think. So these sponges here, they dry the apples. Obviously, as the more apples feed in, the further down the sponges they go. And pretty quick here, we're going to have the sorting. The primary sorting here. We want to make sure that we're only boxing up the really nice apples. Take a little step over here. Oh, yep, like that. Alright, and here what she's doing is she's sorting the apples. Anything that's bruised or damaged or just generally subpar. There we can see a lot better now. It's going to go down that ramp, and they're going to set that aside for cider pressing at a later date and probably at a different location. So now these apples, the good ones, they're going to go right through a polishing unit. These are polishing brushes, and they're going to finish drying the apples and really get them shiny. That really gleaming shine that you see in the supermarket, that's what these brushes do. Look at that. Look how shiny those apples are. That's amazing. Alright, now they're getting fed down a padded ramp here. Again, you don't want to bruise them. And onto a conveyor that's going to feed them into a sorting unit. This is a sizing cone. It's pretty neat. Just check it out. So they're just going to roll down this cone here, and they're going to fall out based on their diameter into these different trays. And from there, they're going to be packed into different boxes, and they're ready to go to market. This is really cool stuff. I'm really glad that we could get some footage of this to show everybody.
So when we came to the farm in 1978, one of the first things that we knew we needed was water. No matter what, and people think there's plenty of water in Western Washington. And there is in the winter when you don't need it. But when you're growing plants and you're growing fruit and you're growing food, the water you need is in the summer, and that's not so much when we get the water. So one of the first things we did was look at the property. There are 2 year-round streams here on the property, and we knew at least we had a source of water. So we dug a pond. This is half the size of what this pond is now when we first started, so that we had enough water. We ran all of our irrigation lines and electrical lines underground so that we could put it even on computer, and that was quite a while ago. The computers have changed and gotten much more efficient at what they do and a lot easier to program. So this pond has served us well. There's 2 springs underneath it, as well as 2 year-round streams that run in it. We also like to showcase that people need to take care of water, and they need to take care of ponds and keep the health of the water for nature, for the wildlife, for the birds. So we also wanted to monitor this water so that we know what it's doing and how healthy it is. We planted our first orchard in 1978 and still actually have some of those trees on the property that are from the very beginning. We've been through many different renditions of orchards. This is our latest orchard here that's got about 30 varieties of apples that we grow and sell, and then also have available for people to see what they look like. You'll see here that there's a little bit of interesting color to the trees, and that is clay. And the clay helps with some pest management issues, and also from sunburn, which is happening right now in the summer here. We are hoping at one point to grow the apples again organically. We started out 40 years ago trying to grow apples organically, and were not successful at all. The materials just weren't there for us to do that. So now, 40 years later, things have changed, and we're hoping to get back to an organic program, and hence the clay that you see here. Thanks for coming. I hope that you enjoyed Cloud Mountain Farm Center. We hope to see you at some point soon. And always feel free to give us a call or visit our website at cloudmountainfarmcenter.org. Thank you.